Welcome to the Strangers on the Way podcast. I'm so excited to have today's new guest. She really is a stranger to me. This is our first time meeting in person, well, virtually. Alyssa Goncales, uh, I met through a dear friend who lives in Phoenix in the Arizona area. And we hopped on a phone call last week, and she's doing some really exciting work. And because it's election season, I love hearing like what's happening on the ground. And so she'll share a little bit about that. But Alyssa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to have you. Could you start just sharing a little bit about who you are, anything you love, anything at all with our
Yeah,
listeners?
I'm a wife and a mom. I've been married for 10 years and we have a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, and they're just so much fun. And obviously, I love them dearly. And the work that I'm doing is because of them, and they're my why and my passion behind the work that I'm doing. Um, but yeah, we live in a suburb of Phoenix, and we love it here. We've only been here for about 2.5 years. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, so about 2 hours south of here. And my husband's job we just kind of on a whim decided to switch his career path, and we came up here, and it was definitely a God thing that we came up here. And it's kind of funny to look back and see how he was working the whole time. And we're just really thankful that we got here. It's been a really rough journey. It hasn't been easy at all. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be at all. Um, but God, and he just has a funny way of doing things. And so um, I've been a hairstylist for 20 years, 21 years, something like that. Started right out of high school, and was super passionate about doing hair, loved it, had so much fun. It was a really, really, really great career. Um, and then the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, I started a business with some coworkers and branched out on our own, and started a little salon. And it was just a really great experience. But I think over time, and being a mom, COVID, homeschooling kids, and all of the things that kind of got wrapped up into that has like completely changed my worldview and my path and what I find important. And so I slowly kind of started losing my passion for doing hair. And when we moved up here, I still was technically a business owner, business partner. And so we lived up here, and I would drive every 4 weeks down there, and I would do 3 or 4 days of like 10-hour days of hair just to keep my clients. And I still was committed to that salon and that lease. And so that just ended in July. And it was very bittersweet. At first, I was like, what am I doing walking away from this? But um, God works all things out, and it's been okay. Um was sad at first, but it's been good, and it's just not for me anymore. And I still have some clients that will come up here and get their hair done, and I'll do friends and family and stuff like that. So I still get to dabble in it, which is nice. But um God had other plans for me. So I'm no longer, you know, consistently doing hair. And now I work in politics.
I love it. That's amazing. It's really fascinating. So many people I feel like are doing these big transitions in this season, and
Mhm.
especially women. Like God has been I've really been fascinated with the story of Esther, and I love
Yeah.
that you do hair because I think one of her like she went into this process. She was an orphan, and she went into this process of like purification, which I think was like healing from past seasons, and then
Yeah.
beautification and understanding, I would say her royalty, and then she went and changed the world. So I really feel like a lot of women, this is happening too right now.
Yeah.
So it's so neat to hear. Obviously, it's hard to like leave things that we've loved, but
Yeah.
yeah, when God's like transitioning us, it's into something new and might not be easy, but it can have such an impact. So could you share about like that transition and what you're doing now?
Yeah. So when we first got up here, I was like, I'm just gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I'm gonna be the total like trad wife, make sourdough and garden um and so just was kind of started doing that. And then I got a call from a friend that had a friend living up here working in politics that needed volunteers for a Ron DeSantis rally that they were hosting in downtown Phoenix. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll volunteer. That sounds fun. Um, and so uh, I had gotten my daughter into like a very part-time, they didn't, we were looking at schools in the area, and um, we found a charter school very pro-America and pro-nuclear family and all of the things that we really were hoping for. We found this great school, got my son in, and then my daughter was in pre-K at the time, and all they could do was 2 days a week for like 4 hours a day or something like that. And so I had some extra time anyways. And so when she was in school, I got to volunteer for this rally, and it just like lit a fire. I like didn't, it was like this whole other world. I've always been like into politics. Um, well, not always, but in the last 10 years, I've been into politics, and very conservative, and starting to get into that and passionate about it. But I just didn't really like ever get involved in anything locally. I kind of always looked at it as like a broad scale of like national stuff. And so seeing it firsthand and like being in it was really exciting, and it really fired me up. And so on a whim, I just decided to apply for a job that they had in the office. They were hiring for like a part-time administrator. And so it's just looking back at it, I was like, what was I thinking? Like, I didn't have the ability or the childcare to even do this job. Why did I even like
Wow.
apply for it? And so when I did apply for it, I immediately messaged the school and I was like, is there anything open? Like, and so they put me on a waiting list, and um, I got an interview like a week later. And the day of my interview, I got a phone call from the school saying that they could get her in full time. So it was like, God, and it was just so clear
Wow.
that, so yeah, they were really cool. They let me work. They let me just work while the kids were in school. So I was able to, my kids didn't even know, that I was gone. So I was able to drop them off at school, go to work, and then I would leave and go pick them up when the time came. So I started out doing computer work, which was incredibly foreign and weird for me. I always said it would be so cringy to work in an office and be behind a desk. And like, there I was, and it wasn't
Wow.
cringy at all. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And they were really patient with me and helpful. And it was at that time very small. There was like two of us. Yeah, three admins at the time, and now it's grown to like 20. But yeah, it was really cool just seeing how all of my thoughts around these things were like so wrong. And I just felt at home there, and it was nice to work with people that you could just be open and honest with, and not have like that fear of retribution or fear of people being offended or whatever. So yeah, I worked about 6 months in the office behind a desk, just assisting people out in the field and stuff like that. And then they were hiring for somebody out in the field. And so I applied for it because I was like, that's just more my speed. It's full time. I can be remote from home. It's social, like more what I was used to. And so, yeah, I got the job, and that was like a year and a half ago. It'll be 2 years in January that I've been in the field. But now I just go out and I work in local politics and I spread awareness on how important just being plugged into your local town and your local politics and your local legislature and all of that, how incredibly important and how it impacts us every day. You know, I never realized how that's where our focus should be, and that's where we have the most power and where our voices are actually heard, and not like, you know, it could be very overwhelming looking at the national scale and be like, it's just me, like I can't do anything. What does my voice matter, you know? And with local politics, your voice is heard and your voice does matter, and that is where you have the power, and it trickles up from there. So I just like to make sure, especially moms, are so aware of that, because we really are impacted every day by local politics.
Yeah, as we started, you said you really have a passion for moms in particular getting
Yeah.
connected and involved. Could you share more about that?
Yeah. So moms are actually one of the highest demographics of people that don't vote. So especially conservative
Wow.
moms, Christians in particular, 50% of Christians don't vote. And moms are a huge part of that. And so I think it's normal. That was me. I didn't start voting until I had kids. And but a lot of moms are, I also only voted on the national level. So I wasn't voting locally because I was so disengaged. I didn't know who my local representatives were. Um, and so that's where my passion lies. I want moms to know that their vote counts, that their voice matters, and that they do have power in their community. And um, not voting, you know, is a detriment to your community. And I understand that we're busy, like we're so busy, mail piles up, our houses are a mess, and like it can get lost in the shuffle, you know. Um, but making it a priority is the best thing you can do for your family and for your community. Um, so I just really like to um, drive that home to moms and really give them all of the information that they, you know, so they're equipped to know who to vote for or why they're voting, and that it does count, it does matter. So we've built a moms coalition through so I work for Turning Point Action. It's the largest conservative organization in the country, and we once we started getting all of this data from the last couple of elections, um, it was really like eye-opening. And so when we lost Arizona in 2022, and there was all that national news over Maricopa County, I was in that. It was a crazy time. And when we got the data from that election, it was absolutely mind blowing. 350,000 Republicans didn't vote in Arizona alone, and a huge part of that were Christians and we're moms. And so I'm a Christian mom, and so that like lit a fire under me and a lot of my coworkers. And it was like, we need to start something for the moms. Like we need to get the moms engaged and plugged in. And so um, we started the Moms Coalition, and we've just branched out all over the valley, branched to Tucson and up north, and really grown. And so where I live in particular in the East Valley, moms it's very conservative where I'm at, but moms are the highest demographic in the East Valley of non-voters, conservative non-voters. So it's grown like it's grown so much, and it's been such an amazing experience, and it's amazing to see growth in these moms, and to see like their passion, and to see them realizing what I realized just a couple years ago, and you know, recognizing the same kind of things that I was feeling at the time. And like it's scary and it's intimidating, and but like so empowering, and yeah, just very empowering. So
That's so powerful. What do you do? Like, do you gather the like coalition together? Is it
Yeah,
more
so we just do
educational?
coalitions are basically like-minded individuals coming
Hmm.
together, like a small community.
Hmm.
Um, so we just do fun things together, and then within those fun things, we educate them. We let them know what's going on in our community, and we have it community based. So we have people in the East Valley, have people in the West Valley, people in Scottsdale, and so you're with moms that are within your community. So they're affected by the same things, and you kind of understand each other, and then you're already like-minded individuals with protecting our kids from all of the stuff that's going on in this country. And so, yeah, we get together, we do fun things, and then we let them know like who their legislatures are. We have speakers come in, we have local candidates, local representatives talking to them, and so that they know exactly what's going on. They're educated, and they're not just blindly voting. So it's fun and it's exciting and growing rapidly. So it's fun to see.
So cool. What is like something you personally have just taken away from your experience?
So much growth. Even though I was a hairstylist, I can be pretty like timid and shy.
Mhm.
And being in the field, like literally one of my first days in the field, I we had this event down at the Capitol, and my coworker was like, "You're speaking," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" What are you talking about? And she's like, "You're gonna
Wow.
get up there and speak," and I'm like, "You're crazy." Like I have never spoken in front of a crowd in my life, and so I've overcome a lot of fears, and I've done a lot of growing, and I've gotten a lot more bold. I wouldn't say I've ever been like a super bold person. Um, but I am now. And so it's exciting to see how God has worked in me. And I just hope he continues to use me and um, grow me and all of that. So
It's so powerful. Yeah, this theme just of like our using our voice
yeah.
and growing in our voice, especially as women, that's really, really powerful. And yeah, that's so exciting to hear.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll run for some form of office someday?
No. No, absolutely not. um, Yeah, I don't think so. That's the only sad part in all of this is seeing corruption and seeing on both sides and seeing it's very stressful, and the attacks come from all over, even within your own party, from your own people. And I don't know if I have the backbone for that, to be honest. But you never know what God has planned for me. But at this point, I can't imagine putting my family through that. And but we do need good regular people running for office. But I see why we don't have a lot of that. Now that I'm in it, I see why we lose a lot of the good people, because it is a very, very tough world to be in.
Hmm.
Very jading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's obviously a lot of talk of division. Have
Mhm.
you seen that or like any neat places where you've seen unity?
Oh yeah. I got the opportunity to go to the RNC this year, and um, it was just such an amazing opportunity. I'm so thankful I got to go. But the unity there was just incredible. Like seeing President Trump 3 days after he had um, the attempt on his life, it was just so unifying, because there is a lot of division within the party, and so that can be very discouraging at times. But not then. Like there was no division that week, and it was just really encouraging and exciting. And it definitely, I feel like it lit a fire under everybody. And, we need more of that. And when there's primaries going on, it can be very divisive within the party. But now that that's over, we've all come together. We're all coming together for the greater good. And so it's exciting to see people just rallying behind somebody they may have not been behind before. And so and then just everywhere we go, it's amazing how many people are just craving some just goodness. And I feel like we are the party of goodness. And like I said, there's bad on both sides, but I feel like it is a battle between good and evil at this point, and it's not about the person or the personality, but it's about our values and our kids' future. And so whenever we're out in public, like, we definitely have more love than hate. And it is really encouraging to see a lot of people coming around and putting aside their blind hatred, or putting aside, what they've been told all of these years, and really having some discernment and opening their eyes and looking at like what's really going on here and what's really more important. So yeah, we had this crazy story come out. A friend of a friend had she has for 34 years has had season tickets to the Cardinals game, and she posted on her Instagram story that the security guard made her throw her "Make America Great" hat away. And she wasn't allowed to enter into the stadium with her hat on. And if she wanted to enter, I mean, this woman got very hostile and kind of got in her face, and told her that she wasn't going to even be allowed in at all unless she saw her throw her hat away. So unfortunately, she threw her hat away, and she was worried about her season tickets and causing a ruckus and all of that. But I caused a ruckus for her. And so I posted about it, and the story went viral. And it was really, really cool to see how many people rallied behind her, and that news stations, because we have this kind of bad idea of the news, that the news stations actually covered it and gave her a voice. And how many people rallied, thousands of people rallied behind her. And we decided to go to the Cardinals game and hand out, because they ended up apologizing and saying this woman was in the wrong. That's not in their prohibited items list and all of that. She was mistaken. And so we decided to show up with 500 MAGA hats at the Cardinals game, and we could have handed out probably 1,000. It was really cool to see. Just there is a lot of unity and a lot of craving for something different out there than what we're currently dealing with.
Yeah. What would you say to voters, like best ways to get educated?
I would say, well, it's different in every state, but find out who your local representatives are, find out where your local GOP meets, find out just anything. Like in Arizona, we have legislative districts, so we meet, and then a lot of states it's like that where they have monthly meetings. So I highly suggest attending these monthly meetings, because your representatives are there and they're letting you know what's going on down at the Capitol. They're letting you know what bills are being passed, what anything that's going on down at the House and Senate. And so these things are directly affecting you in your daily life. So, and school board meetings are highly important. School board members are incredibly important and overlooked. And so attend your local school board meetings, find out who your local school board members are and what they stand for, and do your due diligence and research the people that are running in your community. I think a lot of people overlook that and don't pay attention to it. So I think it's incredibly important. There's a lot of information out there. You can go on, like I said, your local GOP, your county GOP's website, and find out when they're meeting and what's going on locally. So just get plugged in. And if you can also go to turningpointaction.com. We have a lot of resources on our page. So definitely check that out. And we're in 12 states. So we're branching out and we have coalitions in all of those states. So we're around and we can help.
Beautiful. I just saw an article that Gen Z, the jobs that they're looking into are the number one right now is government jobs.
Mhm.
And I thought that was fascinating. And I think this generation really, really cares about making a difference. So if we have like any younger listeners, what wisdom would you say to them? Like, people in their maybe late teens or 20s.
I find it highly encouraging and exciting because I was not that in my day, that wasn't, I don't think there was like that need or the craving that back then like it is now. So I say like dive in, get as involved as you can. We have Turning Point USA chapters all over on almost all high school and college campuses. And if we don't, maybe not all, but we have the resources to start them. So if you are a bold Gen Zer that is happy to be in this fight, like start a chapter at your college, start a chapter at your high school, and get involved with Turning Point USA because it is a really good organization and it is a great way to get more people involved. We have amazing resources, but I think it's amazing that if Gen Zers want to be involved in politics, like please do. Same thing, go to your local meetings. You can, if you're 18, you can be a precinct committeeman, which basically means like a representative for your neighborhood for the party that you're part of. So be one of those and go out and knock doors and talk to your friends and continue to be bold because I think boldness is what we need and people that are unafraid to stand up for what's right. So do it, please.
Beautiful. And then last question, what are you most hopeful for America?
Gosh, I just hope that we can not be so divided and that our kids have a safe place to grow up in. I don't think that we live um, in a safe country at the moment, and I don't think that our kids are given the best of the best like we should be in America. America is supposed to be like where everyone wants to be and the best education and the best food and the best, and it's gotten to a point where we have to fight for all of those things. And so my hope is that we won't have to fight for too long and um, that America does become, that place that we grew up in, and that we can have the American dream and buy a home and afford our groceries and afford gas and not have to worry about our children being indoctrinated and pressured into being things that are ungodly or against his will. And I just pray that they, have a bright future and that they're able to have the same opportunities that we have and that they're healthy and that we can give them good food and good water and all of just the basic things. I think that they've attacked just the basics of our everyday lives, and I just pray that we get that back, and I think we will. I think there's a lot of really 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 good people out there that are fighting the good fight, And I just see it's a really encouraging to see how many people are out there fighting for all of those things. So on all fronts. And I think that we can overcome this. I think that we can get out of it. And the best thing that we all can do is make sure that we vote and that we get involved and have our voices heard and be bold and fight for what's good and fight for truth.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for your passion and your yes. And it's such a joy to hear your story. I love how, yeah, God forms us in all that we do, and it helps us become who we really are. So it's really neat to see that.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.